Good morning. We pick up in Jonah 4, verse 8. When the sun rose, God of east wind, and the sun beat down on the head of Jonah so that he was faint. And he asked that he might die, and said, "It's better for me to die than to live." But God said to Jonah, "Do you do well to be angry for the plant?" It's this kind of like the part two or take two, right? Jonah has already been asked this earlier in chapter 5. "Do you angry?" And yet Jonah has this response, and he responds the same way. Here, do you have right to be angry, or do you do well to be angry for the plant? And he said, "Yes, I do. I do well to be angry, angry enough to die." Now I want you to pay attention to the Lord, Jonah. God has sent this wind. It's called a sirocco. It was a wind that would be like this referred to as a scorching east wind, hot, could be 110 degrees. And here this wind is coming down on him. He's exposed now because the worm has eaten the plant. This is an awful situation for Jonah. He's perched up outside the city, waiting to see God bring destruction upon the city. And here God says to him, as Jonah's petulance reaches a climax, on the second time he threatens that he would just as soon die, and he's angry enough to die, God says, verse 10, "And the Lord said, 'You pity the plant for which you did not labor, nor did you make it grow, which came into being in a night and perished in a night.'" Verse 11, "And should not I pity Nineveh, that great city, in which there are more than 120,000 persons who do not know their right hand from their left, and also much cattle?" Verse 10 is key. God is saying to him, you know what? You're pitying, or you have concern for, but the word really here is pity, like God's pity for Israel in the book of Ezekiel. He's looking at the pitiful condition God is of the Ninevites, but Jonah's fixated on the pitiful condition of this plant. It's because Jonah's primary concern is not God's primary concern. Jonah's heart is not God's heart. Jonah looks, and he's more moved by something he treasures that's trivial than by something that God treasures that endures. So here's a question for you today. What is it that moves you? Are you more moved by the daily frustration of unmet expectations? Are you more moved by things not working out how you'd like them to? Are you more moved by relationships that might be frustrating for you, or people that don't do what you want? Or are you more moved by the things that move the heart of God? Ask yourself that today. Think about that today. Are you moved by the things that move the heart of God? May the Lord bless you today.